Mehdi Hasan's Jubilee debate has gone absolutely viral this week. The video itself has over 7 million views on YouTube. There are a number of reaction videos with over 1 million views, and it's all anyone seems to be talking about on Twitter. In case any of you have been living under a rock, though, this is a taste of the format.
Right? No, I'm not. You're leveraging a position of emotion.
My side of the aisle is trying to deport you. The only shutting down is being done by you.
They're actually trying to genocide my entire race. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You're a white genocide guy?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
You know the fact you're.
I'm amazed that Jubilee find some of you guys. How do they find you?
Do you see?
Did they email you? Do you have Gmail?
Why are you trying to oust me?
So that's the format. I have to say, I've never managed to watch a whole one. They're over an hour long. And I find them quite unbearable. But that was Mehdi Hasan, circled by 20 people described by Jubilee debates as 20 far-right Republicans. They debated whether Trump is a pro-crime president, whether immigration benefits the United States. And it was this guy who, since the debate, has got the most attention.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader, such as
Where does he
Franco.
come from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
who picks the autocrat?
Frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings were
isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards?
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt
supporters.
makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution.
We may have to
which is
rename
bad,
this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this.
So the self-described fascist in that clip has since claimed he's been fired for his political beliefs. And as is tradition, he set up a GoFundMe on a right-wing Christian website, which has already racked up $38,000. It's all perhaps rather undignified. But speaking to the Bulwark podcast, Mehdi Hasan gave a good explanation for why he decided to sign up to the debate.
I did this show because I'd seen some of the Jubilee debates with Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens and Jordan Peterson. They haven't had that many progressives or leftists. It's been mainly kind of right-wingers sitting in the middle of this circle surrounded by, I would argue, good faith debaters from the progressive side. Yeah. Jordan Peterson had a bunch of 20 atheists who kind of engaged in good faith about arguments about God and morality and ethics. And I decided to do it because I thought, number one, let's have a progressive on there. This seems to be a platform with a lot of viewers. I noticed that my kids and nephews and nieces all seem to know what Jubilee was. There's a massive Gen Z and teenage audience for this stuff. So I thought, okay, not the kind of audience that watch political content on the Bulwark or Zateo. Very young audience, worth reaching out to. And then I thought, look, I love to argue, Tim, as you know. I wrote a book about debating. I don't tend to turn down invitations to debate unless it's in bad faith, or I try not to debate fascists and racists.
So I found that he went on to say, but I kind of accidentally did then, but fair enough. He didn't know that guy was going to out himself as a fascist. I have to say, I agree with everything Mehdi Hasan said there. I think when media already exists and when it has a massive audience, which Jubilee Debates does, it is helpful for the left to be in that space. There's not much point in boycotting it. And when it comes to going into a hostile space like that, no one does it better than Mehdi Hasan. He's an absolute pro. I do also find the success of the format somewhat depressing. So I think Ralph Leonard in Unheard put the case quite well this week. So he said the Mehdi Hasan Jubilee debate was made for outrage. And then in the article, he writes this: with any form of public debating, there will always be an element of entertainment and showmanship. It's unavoidable, and there's nothing wrong with it, especially when done well. Style and substance don't need to be mutually exclusive. But Jubilee's Surrounded is a warped caricature of modern debate. It's more of a game show than a forum for political dialogue, where the point is to splice together short clips that allow supporters of either side to think, wow, look how stupid the other side is. Instead of trying to get to the meat of an issue or illuminate something through dialectic, it incentivizes attention-seeking and virality. And he goes on to say the format suits professional debaters like Hasan and Kirk, who have their rehearsed talking points locked and loaded, ready to deploy them when needed. But being adept at verbal sparring doesn't equate to being a virtuoso at engaging over ideas. It's one thing to run rings around semi-literate fascists or ignorant woke libs. It's another to discuss nuanced ideas and issues with interesting and thoughtful interlocutors who can challenge the proponent. Now, obviously, I think Mehdi Hasan is perfectly capable of being a virtuoso at arguing over ideas. I don't think the fact that he's good at the Jubilee debates means he's not good at, I suppose, more exploratory conversations. But I do kind of agree that the fact that so much of politics is now debating where everyone just thinks the other side is an idiot is probably not the most helpful thing in the world. Helena, what is your take on the Jubilee debates? Have you ever managed to watch a whole episode? I think they might be like an hour and 40 or something. They're long, aren't they? And they're like really high tempo the whole time.
Yeah, I've watched far too many of them, unfortunately. I actually really enjoy debate content. I mean, it definitely feels like slop content, and I engage with it as if it is slop content, because 90% of the time it is. It's there to farm TikTok clips. Like, there was a Sam Cedar surrounded where it wasn't far-right Republicans or fascists, as we've seen there in some cases. It was mostly just kind of conservative, Republican, MAGA, Trump types, or whatever it was. And Sam Cedar did a very, very good job of getting a bunch of viral clips where, quite frankly, a lot of his opponents were idiots, right? The problem, of course, is that I think that the text you read out there, the quote from that article, is correct insofar as, well, if all you're doing is getting one really good expert and 20 wannabe influencers who actually don't really know what they're talking about, half of them are just failed actors, as is the case with most conservative pundits, who just want to be able to get their 5 minutes of fame. This doesn't lead to a constructive dialogue if you get voted off after however much time, especially when the people who I've seen in these debates who have the most kind of nuanced and kind of back and forth discussion with the person in the center actually get voted off quicker. People want to see blood sports. They want to see it get angry. They want to see it be confrontational. They don't want it to be exploratory, as you say, which obviously demeans the whole point of the format. If, again, all it becomes is a match to see who can own the person the best on the internet, who can destroy them with facts and logic, rather than come to some kind of agreement. But of course, in a lot of these cases, the kind of people who they choose are so ignorant in loads of cases that there is no way of having a constructive debate. Like in the Sam Cedar one that I watched, there's literally someone there who thought government departments in the United States paid taxes, which of course they don't, because they're federal organizations. They are funded through taxation. That's the opposite. But of course, that's the kind of clips that Jubilee are looking to get. They have, as any other platform does, one singular interest in terms of what it does, and that is generate revenue. That's what it's there for. It's there to maximize clicks, maximize reach, maximize the ability to be able to get eyeballs on its content, because that's what generates the most AdSense revenue. They want to be able to ensure that there's only a limited amount of time people can spend watching YouTube or scrolling on TikTok, that they are as algorithmically optimized as they can be. And contentious debates, like you're seeing here, are far better at getting the clips, getting the watch time, getting people engaged, because that's what social media platforms prioritize in their algorithm. It's engagement, and contention drives engagement, which means they're going to obviously be much more popular than Mehdi Hasan's equally as impressive performances and far more formalized and interesting debates, such as the one he did on Zateo with somebody from the People's Republic of China, or indeed his I think a few years ago, his debate that he had over Islam on the Intelligence Squared platform. So there's plenty of room for reasoned debate. But what we're seeing here with Jubilee is that even in the cases of the people like the fascist there who lost his job, he's still gaining a platform. He's still spreading his views, right? The people who are already amenable to his positions probably aren't going to get their minds changed because Mehdi Hasan said, you say these things and they're absolutely outrageous, you know? So that is a platform that they're gaining. And you see, right? Even to take a historical UK perspective on this. Do you remember when Nick Griffin was on Question Time? And after the Question Time, it was widely agreed by everyone who'd watched it, he did a terrible job. He was rubbish at engaging with the points and really looked like a bit of a cart horse in terms of actually engaging with the topic at hand. Did that stop the rise of the BNP? it didn't. In fact, the membership and the vote share of the BNP increased after he was on Question Time, because there was this perception that his views were legitimate. And that's what I worry, right? That's why I kind of agree with Mehdi Hasan when he said that, well, actually, I just don't want to debate fascists. I don't want to give them the legitimacy of thinking that their platform was warranted. Like the fascist that you saw who lost his job there, he spent the debate defending Franco, say how much of a fan of Franco that he was. Well, it doesn't really matter because Franco, some kind of Francoist leader that I would support, wouldn't kill me. He'd just kill my enemies. It's dangerous to give these views legitimacy. Then the other side of the coin is there are probably plenty of people on the right-hand side of politics who would deny me the similar platform because I like, I don't know, Tito or something. So there is some nuance to this discussion, and I'm interested to understand what your perspective is, Michael, on the risk of the platforming debate here with regards to like how extreme the views can get whilst actually delegitimizing rather than legitimizing those viewpoints.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I have less strong opinions on the platforming side of it. My worry is more like I'm a bit of a technological determinist in a sense. So I feel sort of like political discourse is very much determined by the format in which people consume news. So obviously the development of the printing press was very important to the development of nation states and democracy, and then television to sort of mass democracy as well as trade unions, of course. And then I worry that social media, YouTube, has increased polarization and made everyone just really angry at everyone else. And I suppose this is a constant dilemma I have because we have a YouTube channel. Our videos do better when we say X person destroyed Y person. It's a format that always really works. And obviously within the video, I always try and add some nuance, right? That's sort of like what I try and hope my role is. But yeah, I feel very concerned about our future with this as the dominant format of how people get information, which is all in people's, echo chamber or whatever, where the only time they hear an argument from the other side is to say that guy's fucking stupid. And it's completely mirrored on both sides. And I think it makes everyone hate everyone.
What I would say is that obviously your point there, I think actually worth responding to, because I think we get this a lot in terms of the way in which we launch videos on the channel. People say, oh, I can't believe you're engaging in clickbait by using such and such slams this person. I'm like, well, the reality is that that's the nature of the platform, as you say. Your content can be as nuanced and as interesting, as well-informed as possible. But people don't click the thumbnail, nobody's engaging with it. And I think obviously where we differ is that on Novara Media, we do have nuanced viewpoints. We do expand on the facts. We do have at least somewhat of a balanced discussion of the reality of the situation, whereas the title, the thumbnail may be kind of clickbaity because that's the nature of the format, but at the very least when people do click on it, they do get good content. Because I receive the same kind of stuff on my channel as well, like you're just engaging in clickbait. Well, yeah, I am, but the content is what's important, and that's where Jubilee really falls down, because the content is also as slopified as the titles and thumbnails.